authenticity is not hiding anything. It is being forward with the right amount of information without an intention to deceive.
Ooh. So being part of the information age is extremely dangerous because we don't know. First of all, there's a lot of false information that's going on out there, and we need to help our the Gen Z and younger sift through that information.
Yeah.
What are some ways that you feel like we can help the more seasoned generations understand and help their Gen Zers?
I would say my perspective, because I think a whole lot could be said on this from both of us and a lot of other people who are watching. Context, I think, is what we can offer younger generations, because it's one thing to know what happened in just this video or in just this sound bite or in just what I read in my history books, or it's one thing to know the human anatomy, right? But it's another thing for that same student who's in that health class who learns the human anatomy. It's another thing for their parent to take that into the context of, well, this is what your anatomy might look like throughout your life. This is what challenges you might have with your anatomy as you get older. Let me tell you some of the challenges that I've had. Let me tell you some of the victories and joys that I've had. Bringing context around information, because when you have such a flood of information available to you, a student might take it as the truth. Now, I'm not even talking about misinformation, because the thing might be true, but I think when we talk about truth, we're talking about a full picture of a thing, because it's true that the man on the cross was a criminal, right? That's the truth, that the man on the cross was a criminal. But what's the context of that account in the Bible? Well, the context of that was this man came to rely upon Jesus for his salvation. Don't forget me in your kingdom. You'll be with me in paradise. That's the fullness of that context, rather than just saying, well, Jesus was on the cross with two, criminals, and they were, they had a conversation or something like that. It's not, it doesn't have the full context.
Right.
My grandfather did this for me in many ways before he passed. He could tell me what was happening in that time. Tell me about the civil rights movement. Tell me about what the sit-ins were like. Tell me how you had to prepare. Tell me what supports you did get. Tell me how you, working with the NAACP at the time, how you felt about the Black Panthers. Tell me what your thoughts were at the time and today. Tell me what the context of society was. Put some air around that thing, rather than just saying my grandfather helped desegregate Dallas. My grandfather was part of the civil rights movement. That's a fact. That's information. But when you put fullness around that and context around it, now I can make some decisions with that information, because I know the beneficial information that goes with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to piggyback off that. Point two, I think we can talk about is we need information with borders.
Yeah, break that down.
So, for me and my wife, we can't watch scary movies.
Yeah.
Not because, we'll jump here or there, because we're scared of the movie itself.
Yeah.
We're scared of the effects that it could get into our sleep with nightmares. And so because of that, we stray away from scary movies. We could watch it, but what is the effect of that?
Yeah.
And so helping them self-assess and put self-borders around. There's a restriction for kids for a reason on TV.
Yeah.
Back in the day, at least it was parental restriction on there for a reason, because we wanted to control that. Okay, we already know they're going to ask why. Yeah. They're going to be curious if we just put it on there without talking to them about it.
Yeah.
Okay, why? are we putting this boundary and this border here?
Yeah.
Because we want to stop A from X from happening or stop Y from happening.
Yeah.
Not because we just want to do that.
Yeah.
For your benefit as well.
Yeah.
And teaching them, as we talked about earlier, like teaching why we need those boundaries and borders and how they can, maybe it's not TV. Maybe it is we need to stop playing video games all the time because we want to be a lawyer one day and our GPA makes a difference.
It's a better use of my time.
Yeah, so in this time segment, the information I need needs borders for that as well.
Yep. See, you're talking about principles.
Mm.
And that's how we all should navigate our lives, because circumstances and situations are going to change. The way I got to navigate my life in Grand Prairie is going to be different than how you got to navigate in Ennis.
Yep.
That's two different contexts. That's two different ways.
You're in the city, I'm in the country.
Exactly. That's going to operate differently, but we can have the same principles about respecting your neighbor in their space. We can have the same principles about privacy in the house. We can have the same principles about creating a safe environment for our home. So safe in the country might be a different type of safe in the city.
Yes.
Safe in the country might mean that you might go out late at night and look at the stars and just chill out there, and it's not even a big deal. In the city, it might not be that way. It might be, well, after a certain time, it's best to go indoors. The actions are different, but the principles are the same.
Yes.
The principle is, well, safety.
Yes.
And so if we teach our children principles, it'll teach them to put borders around their information. Because some things I just don't want to know, which I think that's a bad word or a bad phrase today. I don't want to know. No, you need to put it out there.
Right.
We got our reality TV shows. I remember people when the I won't even go into it, but some of these reality shows came out. I had some issue with it. I was having a conversation. I was like, "No, put it out there. Everybody, you need to see that." Well, it's not so much about hiding the thing. It's not about hiding a thing so much. We let God hide stuff because if He hid it, it was hidden on purpose. But for us, it's really about the need for access to that information. I don't walk around, there's another thing in my book, but when it comes to authenticity is not hiding anything. It is being forward with the right amount of information without an intention to deceive.
Ooh, no. Wait, no. Slow that down. Slow that down.
Authenticity is not hiding anything. It's being forward with the right information without the intention to deceive.
Wow.
Because I'm not trying to throw you off my scent. I'm not trying to, it's just, that's my social security number. So why would I give you my social security number? We don't have a relationship to where you need access to that. My kids might wonder, and not just my kids, but other students who are older might want to know every mistake I ever made in my life. You don't need to know every mistake, but I am going to tell you some because it's necessary for this conversation. I got to tell you some of the spots where I fell short, and I think that that's where the generations who are older can really benefit because they are able to build a deeper relationship when they're able to give their stories, their wisdom, put context around a thing, and say, hey, I might not tell you when I was, such and such age and exactly what I was doing, that case with that person and that, but I'm gonna tell you, hey, I've made some big mistakes. Let me tell you one. Let me tell you two. Let me help you understand this thing so that you can then say, man, I don't have to make the same mistakes you did. I can learn from that. And I can say, you know what, I don't want to go to this website because I don't want the damage that it caused to my dad.
Yes.
I can say, I don't want to have a conversation with this person about their profession, because at this stage in my life, I don't feel like that's going to be good for me. There were certain books that I have read that were many people recommended, and I felt like, man, in a different stage, this would be good for me. But right now, the amount of detail that this goes into, it's not a good book for me.
Wow.
It doesn't put me in the right headspace. So I need to find a different book. These are principles. And if we teach a generation principles, then they can navigate their own new challenges. Because don't forget, these will be and are the next parents, voters, politicians, statesmen and women. These are they.
That is so good. You remind me of a story. Well, it's not really a story. It's what happened in my life. My parents got divorced when I was 12.
Okay.
And that broke me because I thought I was gonna be separated from my brother. My parents were getting. I thought we were like
just a lot of fears.
The ideal family. I thought that's who we were, and as time I was just confused for years and years and years. And when I was probably 19, 20, I started dating my wife, who's my wife now. And my dad told me the number one mistake I made was I stopped dating your mom.
Wow.
I saw his hurt. I saw the hurt. Oh.
Come on.
They see the generation now sees the triggers, but they don't have the solution or the border for their trigger, the principle for their trigger. They see all the pain going on. They see the hurt.
Man.
But they're like, okay, so like, what do I do with it? Like, and what would you have done differently?
Yeah.
And when my dad told me that, whenever there's an issue with me and my wife, I go back to, am I spending enough time with her? Because what happens in one generation, as we talked about, trickles down.
Yeah.
And so he was so caught up in his work.
Yeah.
He wants to work hard, provide.
Yeah.
He opened the door.
Yeah.
For there to be a separation.
Yeah.
And so whenever we're falling, this has just happened last week.
Yeah.
With me and my wife.
Yeah.
I had to take a day off of work to reflect and say, okay, I'm tripping because I'm going down the same path that. And so to my seasoned generations.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to identify those things and tell those things, but to my Gen Z, you need to take heed.
Yes.
It's more of a biblical word, but you should listen, to put it plainly, to what the generations before are telling you, because they're giving you the secret sauce. Don't get caught up in the yelling, the screaming. What is the principle that's there? My coach used to always tell me that. My voice might be raised.
Yeah.
But what am I saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that thing that you can pull out? What is the teaching point? What is the principle?
Yeah.
So just because I'm yelling about you about cleaning your room, it's not that. It's that I want you to be clean.
Yeah.
You don't want roaches in your house.
Yeah. I want you to have a clear state of mind. And your room is a reflection of your head.
Yes.
If you clean your room, you can have a clear thought process.
My mom, the way she was saying is, I don't want to trip over and break my neck over the toy that you have out there. I heard, oh, she complaining she don't want to break her neck. What she was saying was that I want you to be safe.
Yeah.
But I don't want clutter in your mind, as Chris just said. So that is...
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll say this for all my Gen Zers and for the parents of Gen Zers who might want to share this with them. A good question to ask yourself or challenge yourself. What if they're saying it because they care? Like, ask yourself that. What if they're telling me this because they actually care? I know that there might be a lot of reasons in your mind to say they don't care about me, they don't want the best for me. But ask yourself, if this was a person who cared, why would they be saying this? Oh, okay, if they cared about me, they're telling me this because it's going to benefit me. They're telling me this because there's something that I can take from this. It might be, like you said, you got to throw away the other stuff, like eating fish. You got to take out the bones, eat the meat. You got to eat the meat, take out the bones. Nobody likes the bones in their fish. Well, some people do.
And some people like it.
Yeah, some people like it. Take the bones out as meat.
Right.
Take the bones out, eat the fish. If they cared about me, what if they cared about me?
So it's really giving them the benefit of the doubt and not...
Yeah. And even less, here's the other part. What if they don't care about you? Is there still something there that you have to, it's like, forget you. I might not have a good relationship with you, but maybe this is good advice for me. And I know that sounds weird. It's like, you're not a great parent. You're not a great principal, or you're not a great teacher, or you're not a great police officer, whatever the case might be. But is there something here that I can take from this situation? It's not about them.
And either do or avoid.
Yes, either do or avoid. Is there something I can draw out of this so that I can get further along the road, not just so I can be heard, not just so I can do what I want, but is there something here that will help me get down the road? Because I'll tell you this, it's good to be heard, it's good to be heard, but it's not worth more than me getting down the road.
Ooh.
Because if you can hear me, I knew some people who I talked to about my issues and my challenges as a student. They heard me, but their advice was terrible. They heard me, but their company was bad. They gave me space to talk, but they weren't a good influence on my life. I gotta step back and I gotta say, man, if I'm having a conversation with somebody who I actually, they're an authority figure in my life, not just somebody I invited in, but an authority figure, my parents, principals, teachers, all of those people, what are they saying right now? And is there some way that this can get me down the road? They might not want to hear what I got to say, but they're telling me something. Mm-hmm. Can I take from that and get down the road? Because I want to be alive. I want to have my health about me. I want to be able to have a fruitful future. They just want to kill my fun. Maybe. But is there something here? Is there something here that's going to help me move forward rather than me just being heard? Rather than me just, being able to do what I want to do. Maybe what I want to do is wrong. Have you ever asked yourself that question? Or that thought? Is it possible that what I want to do is detrimental for me? Is it? Yeah, just like for me. Some stuff I want to do for myself is detrimental for me. So I got to do something different. I got to listen to the person who's telling me, look, you don't need to just chase that money. Don't just chase that money. Even though you got responsibilities, don't just chase the money. Because it's going to end bad for you. Well, part of me might want to just go after the dollar. But I want to get down the road. I don't want to just do what I want to do.
There's a saying that says, a smart person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others.
Come on.
And so if we can speed up the process and not hit some of the same bumps and hurdles that are whoever it is, parent, guardian, aunt, uncle, if we can take all of these experiences that we have, and instead of getting to where we need to be at 40, we can do it at 24. That's worth the 16 years.
Why not?
Even if we don't want to hear it. That's the thing. Gen Z, I know you tired of hearing the same stories.
Shoot.
Over.
I didn't get tired.
I know, and now we transition to the point to where we don't want to tell the story because they get tired of.
Yeah.
I know that you're getting tired of hearing the stories. But there comes a point in time to where I'd rather hear the story again than go through the lesson again.
Yeah. Maturity. So judge yourself on that. Am I being mature? Because I would go back to my grandfather to hear the same stories that he's been telling for decades. Because at this point in my life, I value them.
And it hit different.
It hits different when I'm in a different stage of life, but also it hits different when I want to hear it. Tell me what's wrong with stuff today, or tell me why this was better. Tell me. I want to hear it. And then my grandfather was he was a great speaker. He would tell stories. So back to Gen Z. Back to generations higher, older. Tell the stories. Because that's how Gen Z will stay engaged. If you tell them the story. Everybody loves a good story.
Yes. Thanks for watching the conversation on the Generations YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe and watch for more great content.